Jon Rahm has just broken his silence, and what the two-time major champion is revealing about his future is sending shockwaves through the entire professional golf world. The LIV golf empire he staked his career on is collapsing in real time. The PGA Tour door he walked away from is closing fast. The DP World Tour deal he scrambled to sign is already raising more questions than it answers. And now, after finishing tied for second at the 2026 PGA Championship, just 3 shots behind Aaron Rai, the most gifted Spaniard golf has ever produced is standing at the most dangerous crossroads of his career. Hit that subscribe button right now, because what Jon Rahm says next could reshape the entire landscape of professional golf, and you do not want to miss a single word of it. To understand where Rahm is right now, you have to go back to December 2023. The PGA Tour and LIV Golf were locked in their Cold War. The framework agreement was advancing, defections had slowed, LIV was quietly running out of air. And then, in a move that stunned the entire sport, Jon Rahm, the reigning Masters champion, the man who had pledged his loyalty to the PGA Tour and called himself a custodian of the game's traditions, signed a reported $300 million contract with LIV Golf. The timing was catastrophic for professional golf's reunification. LIV had been on the ropes. Rahm's arrival gave the breakaway league the validation it was desperately running out of time to find. Players who had been wavering stayed put. Sponsors who had been hesitant leaned back in. And the 2-year process of trying to bring golf back together was set back by at least 12 months. Drop a comment right now on whether you think Rahm's LIV move was the biggest mistake in modern golf history, because what happened next is where the story gets truly ugly. The PGA Tour did not forget. The view from Ponte Vedra was narrow and consistent. Rahm's exit may have prolonged golf's civil war by a full year. And when Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund announced earlier this year that it would be withdrawing its financial backing from LIV Golf after the 2026 season, the PGA Tour suddenly had something it hadn't had in years: the upper hand. Almost immediately, the PGA Tour's CEO, Brian Rolapp, unveiled what he called the Returning Member Program, a performance-based pathway back for players who had been away from the tour for at least 2 years and had won a major between 2022 and 2025. Only 4 LIV players qualified: Brooks Koepka, Cameron Smith, Jon Rahm, and Bryson DeChambeau. Koepka took it, he's already back. The other 3 passed. The window closed on February 2nd, and the PGA Tour has now made it clear the program is not expected to be renewed. Smash that like button right now, because the position Jon Rahm now finds himself in is unlike anything we have seen from a major champion in the modern era, and the next 6 months of his career are going to define his entire legacy. So what exactly is Rahm's situation right now? It is complicated, messy, and getting worse by the day. His LIV contract still has several years remaining. When asked about it directly before the PGA Championship, Rahm was uncharacteristically blunt. He said he had several years left on his contract and was pretty sure they did a pretty good job when they drafted it. He said he did not see many ways out, and as of right now, was not really thinking about it. That is the answer of a man who knows exactly what the contract says and does not like what it means. Because while Rahm publicly projects calm, the reality is that LIV Golf without Saudi funding is an entirely different proposition. The 54-hole events, the shotgun starts, the small fields, the limited world ranking points. All of it was survivable when the money was extraordinary and the tour had a future. Now that the funding is being pulled and the future is uncertain, the calculation changes completely. And let me throw this to you right now. Do you think Jon Rahm genuinely has no regrets about leaving the PGA Tour, or is that just the face he has to put on publicly? Drop your honest take below, because the DP World Tour announcement tells a very different story. On May 5th, just days before the PGA Championship, Rahm announced he had reached a conditional agreement with the DP World Tour. The deal required him to pay off all outstanding fines accumulated since 2024, believed to be approximately £3 million. In exchange, the DP World Tour granted him conditional releases to continue playing conflicting LIV events for the remainder of the 2026 season, while also committing to play a minimum of 4 DP World Tour events outside of the majors. The headline reason was Ryder Cup eligibility. Rahm had been the only European LIV golfer who had not agreed to the DP World Tour terms, putting his participation in the 2027 Ryder Cup at Adair Manor in Ireland in serious doubt. That threat clearly focused his mind. He paid the $3 million. He signed the agreement. And overnight, his Ryder Cup eligibility for 2027 was restored. But here is what everyone is actually saying behind closed doors. The DP World Tour deal is not just about the Ryder Cup. It is the first step in a carefully constructed exit strategy from LIV Golf. Because the route back to the PGA Tour for Rahm almost certainly runs through the DP World Tour. Patrick Reed showed the blueprint. Reed left LIV at the start of 2026, returned to the DP World Tour using his honorary life membership from his 2018 Masters victory, has already won twice on the European circuit this year, and is now tracking toward the top 10 in the race to Dubai, which carries PGA Tour cards for the following season. Rahm is watching that pathway very carefully. If you're still watching this far in, make sure you smash that subscribe button, because the next chapter of this story is about to explode, and what happens at the 2027 Ryder Cup at Adair Manor could change everything for Jon Rahm. But here is the painful irony sitting at the center of all of this. While Rahm is scrambling to piece together a future outside of LIV, he played some of the best golf of his career at the 2026 PGA Championship at Arnhem. He holed out for an eagle on the par 4 second hole in the opening round. The first career eagle he has ever made on a par 4 at any major championship. He rode that momentum through an extraordinary moving day third round, shooting a 3 under 67 to surge into tied for second, entering the final round. On Sunday, with the Wanamaker Trophy within reach, he birdied the first 2 holes to immediately tie the lead. He gave himself every possible chance to win his third major title. And then Aaron Rai, playing some of the most precise golf Arnhem had ever seen, simply would not be caught. Rahm finished tied for second at 6 under, 3 shots behind the champion. His quote afterwards was the quote of a man who knows exactly how good he still is. He said consistently that this year his ball striking feels as good as any year since 2021, the year widely considered his absolute peak. He said the only gap between where he is and where he wants to be is converting what he feels into what the scoreboard actually shows. When you hear Jon Rahm say his ball is striking at 2021 levels, you understand why the PGA Tour privately acknowledges it wants him back. A PGA Tour that includes Jon Rahm is, on competitive merits, a dramatically stronger product. His presence in fields affects television ratings, sponsor interest, and the depth of marquee events. Officials around CEO Brian Rolapp fully recognize that. They also recognize the difficulty of their position. Rahm was offered a defined pathway back through the returning member program and chose not to take it. Readmitting him now, not because he reconsidered the benefits of the tour as Koepka did, but because LIV's collapse eliminated his alternatives, would carry an entirely different meaning. It would look like the PGA Tour rewarding a player for choosing wrong and waiting to be rescued. And that precedent matters enormously to the players who stayed. Asked directly whether he regrets leaving, Rahm gave the answer he always gives. He said he has never made decisions by looking backwards and has never approached any choice in his life by thinking about what he would do differently if he had known the outcome. That is a very elegant way of saying absolutely nothing. Because the one thing everyone in professional golf knows right now is this: Jon Rahm is not where he wants to be. He is not on the PGA Tour, where the best players in the world compete every week. He is not in the Ryder Cup team, at least not yet. He is not at peace with his situation, whatever his press conference answers might suggest. He is a 31-year-old, 2-time major champion, playing the best golf of his life, by his own admission, finishing second at a PGA Championship, and watching a future he cannot fully control disappear in front of him. So tell me, can Jon Rahm find his way back? Or did he make the one decision in his career that cannot be undone? Drop your verdict in the comments, smash that like button if you want more deep dives on golf's biggest storylines, and subscribe right now because Jon Rahm's next announcement might be the most important one professional golf has heard in years.